Welcome to our presentation, Falling into OER. The material that we're going to go over today was put together by Miss Judith Lea, Technology and Learning Center Director, Dr. Julia Everett, our Head Librarian, and myself. I'm Barbara Kilgore, Associate Dean of Instruction at Northeast Alabama Community College. We began our journey into OER in 2018 with a workshop that Dr. Everett and Miss Lea attended at Athens State that was put on by AIC. After that workshop, Dr. Everett began creating our LibGuides, and over the next few years we applied for and received several grants. One was for course creation and the other was for Creative Commons certification. The creation of this presentation, more LibGuides for instructors, and a pilot course on OER for our instructors were produced as a part of the final grant. Normally this is a 45-minute presentation, so forgive me for pressing through this material quite quickly. These were our objectives for this presentation, and to summarize, what we wanted to really do with this presentation was just to introduce you to the difference in Creative Commons and open educational resources, and to also introduce you to where to find those resources and help you to be able to recall creative ways to use open educational resources to create relevant and engaging assignments. So the main difference in open educational resources and Creative Commons are that open educational resources are materials that are created by educators to share at low or no cost for educational purposes. Examples of these might include textbooks, slide presentations, and quizzes. Creative Commons, however, can be defined as three different things. One, it's a license that is applied to those open educational resource materials. And secondly, it is a movement to promote open educational resources. And lastly, it is an organization to promote open educational resources. So it's sort of a threefold thing. So why is this topic important? Well, OER puts learning outcomes in control of the content in your course instead of your textbook. It also impacts retention rates by offering day one access as well as relevant materials that students will be interested in. Lastly, many states are enacting legislations to promote the use of OER. Normally, we would take you out to look at our LibGuides, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to share with you what Julia has created in our LibGuides. And these are the links to those LibGuides here on the slide, and you have access to this presentation so you can get to those. Dr. Everett created pages that detail the difference in OER and Creative Commons. She also created a repository of resources that are specifically OER resources. So I want to just kind of give you an idea of what those look like. So we have our actual LibGuides, but in the midst of those LibGuides with the articles, streaming videos, and those resources, she has a specific OER content link, and she has all kinds of resources in that OER that are specific to certain areas like art or music or theater or math or science, so that the instructors have specific OER resources already available to use. When we begin looking at training our instructors, we ask ourselves, what do instructors need to know? We created a Canvas course that walked them through what OER resources are, where to find them, and how to evaluate them. And then we also provided them with a module on Creative Commons licensing and how to use it. Finally, we provided them with some examples of assignments and projects that they could create using OER resources and how to cite and attribute those sources. So when we began talking to our instructors about teaching with OER, we wanted to make sure that they understood that they didn't have to recreate their whole entire class in one semester. They could really kind of use the textbooks that they had in place and just start developing maybe one module a semester or something like that. And then every semester add to it, and before they knew it, they would have a full course in place. So I wanted just to kind of give you some examples of how this Creative Commons licensing works. So for instance, in my art appreciation class, there were 4 images that I wanted to talk to my students about, and I wanted to also give those images some relevance to modern culture. So I found all 4 of these images in public domain, and public domain in Creative Commons is the most permissive license, and it's the only license really that you don't have to do attribution for. However, because someone had taken the time to post these images, I decided to attribute them. So I took all 4 of these images, combined them into one, added some new stuff that I had created, and came up with this image that combined all of these images into an image that my students could relate to. So I'm going to just kind of bounce to this next slide and talk to you a little bit more about these different Creative Commons licensing. So I was talking to you about public domain. And public domain really allows you to do anything you want to with it. You can redistribute it, you can change it, you can add stuff to it, and you don't have to attribute. BY license, you're going to do anything you want to it, but you have to give the original creator credit for it. BY share alike just means that you can use it, but you got to attribute them, and you also got to share it the way they shared it. And then there is a non-commercial clause where you can't use it to make money. And then there is a no derivative clause where you can't do anything but use it and attribute it. And then there's some combinations of these. So for instance, with this PowerPoint, I had to license this PowerPoint as a BYNC SA, which is share alike, non-commercial attribution. And I had to do that because one of the images that I used on the slide in this presentation was licensed as non-commercial. So you can kind of see that you have to be a little bit careful about what license the open educational resources you have chosen has on them, so that when you create your own material with it, you're licensing and attributing that materials correctly. So the last thing that we just wanted to share with you, and to kind of tie all this together, is the advantages and disadvantages of OER. So the advantages of OER is that it's a huge cost savings to your student. It also adds variety and value to your course. It allows you to customize and create accuracy in your content. It also allows you to find relevant content and create relevant content that matches your student learning outcomes and your course structure. The disadvantages of OER is that it takes a lot of time to put together, but so worth it. You're going to lose your publisher digital content, so you're going to have to create your own quizzes and your own flashcards and all of that sort of stuff. But again, once you get it created, it's always yours. And the other side of that is you don't have to do it all at one time. And then another disadvantage is maybe the academic integrity of the materials. You need to make sure that you're making appropriate choices with the integrity of the materials that you're using, that they're coming from good sources. So on this last slide, I'm going to provide you with our contact information. That tiny URL is to our presentation, and then there is also a link to Creative Commons where you can find lots and lots of OER resources. And then lastly, that is a link to our instructor course in Canvas Commons. that you can download and investigate all of those resources that we have in place. Thank you so much.